What's going on, guys? I have a bit of a treat for you guys today. You've probably seen me rocking this shirt quite a bit over the past couple of weeks. The band that this is actually a shirt of, the band's name is Gunsen, and we're going to talk about their album today entitled The Adventure of the Devil's Notes. Now, Gunsen may sound familiar to some of you, it may not sound familiar to others. Gunsen is the guitar player for Pathfinder, who are a Polish power metal band that have epic fantasy on their resume as well. So this is his solo project, so you're probably thinking, this is going to be power metal. And guess what? You're right. This is going to be conventional high fantasy. Guess what? Kinda. This is going to involve knights and kings and this and... No. This is going to involve the Metal Chicken, Super Pig, and Hellish Kitty. Inspector Jack. This is weird stuff, and that's really kind of the charm of it. Gunsen here basically just has no fear. He just decided that he needed a channel for some of his weird ideas, I'm assuming, because no sane man would obviously go and, opt to do something like this. But, whenever you fire up this album and you hear the opening parts of Metal Creepsy Fierski, those are words that came out of my mouth, this is not going to be your granddad's power metal album. It's not going to be your father's power metal. It's not going to be the power metal album that you listened to yesterday. It's not going to be the power metal album that you listen 50 years from now if you're still alive, you fragile piece of shit. At any rate, this is a very strange and peculiar album, and the opening bars of it are a lady's voice stating that if you aim to just be popular, the devil will treat you like candy. Essentially going for that idea that metal is the law or that metal is king. And that is something that is present here alongside of just the random and weird, the strange, the super pigs, the metal chickens, and any other, animals or foliage that opt to have superpowers, either that or some sort of strange quirk about them. But this is something that you're going to find as you continue through the album that works really, really well, and we're not quite sure why. I was in my lab last night after listening to this album. I ran a lot of complex formulas. My beakers were just going, my Bunsen burners were all on, I was experimenting with particle collision and nearly destroyed the universe. Still can't really understand why this works so well. The only hypothesis that I've been able to come up with is the fact that the songwriting prowess for Pathfinder that Gunsen is a part of was already a pretty solid idea whenever it came to power metal, and you could literally apply that to just about anything, and it was still going to be sort of this elegant power metal songwriting. And Gunsen's really, really, really good at guitar as well, which probably helps, considering he's able to just shred his fingers off. I'm surprised this man actually doesn't just play with a giant stump where his wrist is. And just, it works. It works. And really the blinding nature of the solos, or the way in which the leads are constructed at a rapid pace. These are longer songs too. These are not 3-minute cuts. We're talking 5, 6. We have a track on here that is 10 minutes long nearly, and it still maintains its interest throughout the entirety of these tracks. And it's because of this sort of weird and bizarre element to it. It's Metal Chicken talking about a nightclub. It's Super Pig talking about a literal super pig. It's Hellish Kitty, which I think is more so aiming to talk about, a woman. But here's the thing about it. The beginning of this song sounds like Dream Theater is attempting to, take part in a seance in order to summon Hello Kitty. But what actually happens is that they've actually summoned a samurai Iron Maiden. And what happens during summoning and during, the space-time continuum, time travel, and all that stuff, is that you get there, and this is why nobody actually wants to time travel or, put money into time traveling, because this is what happens. You're learning something today. Take some notes. Whenever you get there, you get sped up to 250%. So now imagine yourself going to the 1850s and take your voice and put it to 250%. So we're talking Alvin and the Chipmunks, then Alvin and the Chipmunks. You sound like, basically, you injected 10 tons of helium and are somehow still alive. And you're going way too fast, like you injected 10 tons of cocaine and somehow, someway, you didn't explode. That's what happens here. This is something that goes from sort of a proggy, keyboard style that goes right into that Iron Maiden sort of bassline riff that then gets sped up and becomes power metal, because Iron Maiden is one of the influences for power metal, so it makes a lot of sense. And then you get meow, meow, meow as lyrics within the chorus. And it works really, really well. Now, granted, it's not sung, it's growled, meow, meow, meow. But it works. Why does this work? Once again, returning to the lab. Bunsen burners, beakers, chemicals, agents, particle acceleration. This time, I tried it on Mars. Don't look for it, that's all I'll say. And I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works. It's almost like trial and error. It's almost, just very well-tailored songwriting. Like the guy's done this before, because he has with 2 albums of Pathfinder. But either way, it just somehow brings such joy to you to listen to this. It's so much fun to listen to this album that you really don't care. And it works out so beautifully. You hear meow, 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 and your first thought is, did he just fucking meow? Your first thought is, that's freaking awesome. It really makes sense. You look at the words without hearing the music, and it sounds lame. You hear the music, and it sounds awesome. It's one of those weird little things that makes music so darn powerful. Wish I'd have thought of that whenever I was in my lab. And then also there's Kothoro, which is the second to last cut on this album, which is nearly 10 minutes. For all of the, sort of tongue-in-cheek stuff in this album, it can also get serious, and it also can really blind you a little bit with its power and with, the prowess that its players really have. This is a near 10-minute long track, and it resembles high fantasy. It resembles what Pathfinder has done. It's almost like this is a forgotten song for the Pathfinder camp. That this is a track that maybe Gunsen had in mind, but the rest of the band were just like, we're going to pass on that. They shouldn't have. It's really good. I don't know if that's actually the reason, but if it was, shame on you. This is a great track. Hope finishes this one up, and after 5 minutes and 10 seconds, your bizarre journey is over. And wow, you're kind of blinded by this a little bit, and that's the reason why I am not going to give this a score per se. Instead, I'm going to just deliver some final thoughts and kind of a general idea. This is bizarre. This is a lot of fun. Power metal is not traditionally my thing, but I found myself going back to certain tracks and jamming out, and I had a ton of fun listening to this. And I think that's really important in music. I don't think that there's enough fun in music at times. We have bands such as Crotch Duster and, whatever, that really provide us with some real humor from time to time. Crotch Duster, their album came out 12 years ago, roughly. Maybe it's 11. Fuck if I remember. Either which way, I could say that we could use a lot more albums like this Gunsen one in our lives. Just to give us something weird and quirky to pop on every so often. Technically, it's brilliant. From a songwriting standpoint, it gets a little bit predictable. It's power metal, but who cares? They're talking about metal chickens, super pigs, hellish kitties, Inspector Jacks, metal creepsy for Fierski. Bleh. Mr. fucking Feeney is about to come in and examine my psychological profile. This is an album to check out. If you have the opportunity to, definitely do it. If you want to figure out how you can check out this album, definitely contact me or go to Gunsen on Facebook. There's a link in the description box for you to follow that and get what you need. Thanks, guys, Gunsen and Michael, for hooking me up with this stuff and giving me the opportunity to check this out. This is really cool. Mike, I know that you're a patron. Rock on, brother. Anybody else wants to get on board, follow the links in the description box below. You too can help this channel stay afloat and alive and breathing because, life support is stupid. I have to fund my lab, damn it. This place is really getting expensive. I'm CoverKillernation. I'll talk to you later. Take care.